shape your relations, shape your families, and a lot of things. So let's look back. What does retrospective means? Retro means. Can anybody tell me retro?
Look back what we have done.
Yeah, retro means back, just the backside. And spec means look. It's a typical physical or physics word. So let's look back. Sometimes what happens is when you look back, you get the same rosy picture. But sometimes when you look back, you might get a different picture altogether. Yeah, and uh, this is me. I need not tell you about myself again and again. So yeah, uh, have you heard about this? People saying this: never look back. Nothing ever changes there. What's your view on this?
I don't agree with this.
Okay, why so?
Definitely, you cannot change the past, but you would learn from it.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I think you will agree that uh, I mean you looking back, nothing will change there. It's
Yeah.
absolutely right. Nothing changes there. But what you want to change? You want to change the future, and hence you should look back, learn from it, and move on. So, and while you are actually doing a retrospective, you should also take a chance and change it. Keep changing it so that it is more interesting. uh, People like it, and how to change it. So let's understand the structure today. We are going to understand the structure of a retrospective, or of a good retrospective, and then I'm going to give you certain ingredients. You can just pick and choose and make your own retrospective out of it. There are multiple tools. I'll give you certain options. So how does it look like? It looks like very simply here. So uh, when I generally do retrospective, because I've been called into many teams, sometimes into the management meetings of the organizations. Uh, I've been, really grateful to God that I have worked with some of the CEOs and some of the great managements across bigger MNCs, right from the startups. I work with startups too. uh, Wherever I went, I always felt a need of looking back. And I saw some people, some great CEOs, they always look back to learn from the past and implement in the future. And that's what is the greatest tool that they say. So while doing a lot of experimentations, I did a lot of experimentations with retrospecting. Did layman's retrospective, did very technical retrospective, did really retrospective the way it is written in books, the bookish ways. So I found my own way of doing retrospectives, and it's really good. So sometimes I keep changing, but I have typically four-stage retrospective. People might call it differently, but I call it a set, collect, generate, and plan. So set the stage, collect data, generate insights, and plan to close. Okay. Now, what all things are there? What do you mean by set the stage? You must be also setting the stage in your retrospective. How and why it is important. Setting the stage.
So that we don't waste the time for unwanted stuff.
Mhm.
And you can clearly uh, can maybe you can say that agenda will be clear and the time location so that people will be on time and what are I mean the expected level so they may come up with the based on the agenda.
Setting the stage is really important. I was saying that when you invite someone, if the stage is not built in, people will not feel invited and really welcomed. Um, and hence, the relationship that you're going to build in that particular event might not be so good. Imagine you're calling people uh, in a marriage ceremony at your home, and then things are not really put at the right place, and you're just running here and there for certain things. How would you feel? Will you really feel invited, or you'll not feel so good?
the real fact. And hence, for the facilitator, especially the facilitator is typically the scrum master or the agile coach or whoever is actually going to conduct this. So setting the stage is really, really important. But what all are the aspects of setting the stage? Very first thing is making sure that the retrospective environment that you're going to create is very relaxed environment so that people can enjoy, people can share inputs with you. Okay, so creating relaxed environment. How do you create relaxed environment? Can you share some inputs, guys? Team was absolutely busy in the delivery in the last iteration or sprint, whatever you call. They were really, really busy, and all of a sudden, your review is done, and they're sigh of relief, relaxed, a little bit of it. However, now are they in the mood of talking to you? I don't know. You have to check that. How would you check that? How would you create a relaxed environment? If on a Friday evening, 9 p.m., your review ends, sometimes people also call it demo to the stakeholders, it finishes there. Will you really do the retrospective then and there at 9 p.m. on a Friday? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No,
No,
no.
no.
Why
Yeah,
not?
also no.
It's quite late in the evening.
It's
People
quite
The
are
late.
tired.
stage was
People
not
are
set.
tired. Yeah.
Stage was not set, Jay.
Yeah. Even if you set the stage, people won't like that stage
Exactly.
because their families are waiting, their friends are waiting somewhere in some restaurant. So that stage is even better than yours. Unless and until you are setting a stage in a restaurant, okay, and you give them everything that they do on a Friday evening, that would be a real good stage. You know, but that may not be a good stage for a retrospective because there is a lady who actually wrote about doing retrospective in a restaurant with a beer mug in your hand. Sometimes you will actually end up um, doing something you're not supposed to do. Yeah, so that's why setting the stage in the sense is also selecting your environment. Okay, selecting the environment which was really typically work environment which is really stressful may not be really good. So select an environment which is really relaxed. People will feel relaxed and they will not get a hint of, you know, as if you're calling them from some for some work. That's the first rule. Second is set the time and location one day prior at least. People should know that when are you calling them, what time, what location. So they should be a little aware of it. If you want to give a surprise party, that's a different thing altogether. You can just tell the time and then be there, something like that. Or if you're going to pick them up, that's absolutely okay. It may not be your office environment. It may be somewhere outside. I have done retrospective sometimes in office canteen, maybe in a garden, on a rooftop. I have done somewhere on the staircase. Seriously, I've done it on the staircase because staircase in my life holds a real good importance. I remember those days while I was in engineering college, even in my schools. That staircase was really innovative place wherein people were talking to each other, sharing inputs, and they were giggling. And when you take people there on the staircase and they sit like that, they are into a different mood. They go to college or something like that. So I also did it there, and it was really wonderful. So setting the stage, then sometimes getting food for them, but getting food for them sometimes would be a little bit costly affair, and all the time you may not be able to do it. So sometimes what I set is in the setting the stage, I set an environment wherein people in the team on the round robin, say 7 people are there. Every time one person will give treat to everyone, so that it's sharing. They go to canteen and the retrospective happen at the canteen table. Okay, so you have typically the budget set like say $10, something like that. If you're in US, Europe, in India, it can be somewhere around maybe $500. Okay, that's it. Because I believe in one psychology, people open up over food. People, open their mouth to eat food, and the moment they open their mouth they generally chew, and hence that's a stage wherein people are ready to speak out, they're happy to share, and that is setting the stage. If you're using a board, if you're using tools like retro.com, if you're doing online retrospective, setting the stage is really really important. Make them feel invited. Okay, sometimes we have also done something like contribute and win, in the sense, if you're contributing to retrospective, one of the best inputs, we would give you some kind of reward. If you if you contribute in um, solving some problems for the team in retrospective, you will be awarded, so that people really feel like coming to this particular stage. you know this is kind of setting the stage. But will you do everything same thing all the time? No. Sometimes you can choose board out of it, sometimes you can choose certain tools out of it, sometimes you can choose food option, the location, the contribute and win, sometimes some other things. Okay, uh, different day, different time, different location. Okay, relaxed environment, you can have different environment. A canteen, I was telling you, under the tree, maybe I was telling you on the staircase, or anywhere which is a relaxed environment. So you can keep changing these things, or select one or two or three four things out of this. Okay, that's setting the stage. Once you're out of setting the stage, then you are there to collect the information. What is the information that you need to collect? Looking back. So looking back, people generally have a very short sight or memory. They generally remember only 1 or 2 days of events. So how do you do that? How do you do that? You tell people that you remember the whole thing, what happened in the iteration or the sprint. Generally, what I do is I generally use something called as timelines. So as a facilitator, I take them through the complete iteration of the sprint. Hey guys, on the day one, we met together. This is what happened. The PO came, he came late 5 minutes or something like that. And then we had this fun. And then we were like, you said that 10 items will do. At the end, you just ended up doing, 8 items will do. However, we couldn't finish all because in between on the Monday, Tuesday, this things happened, and then all of a sudden a defect came in from the field, and that's how we landed here. And then our built broke up in between. Sonar tool started not responding, and then lights off. This corona happened and something like that. So what I do is across the timeline, what has happened, kind of storytelling, so that I'm creating an interest, people remember. So what I'm doing is I'm telling a story about what happened in the timeline, but what is my intention? My intention is to remind them what has happened. So I'm giving them the pointers. Okay. Now what I do in collection of the data, I'm telling storytelling, people connect the dots, what has happened across the sprint. Now I go into something like, you see here, there are three boxes here near collect the data. I call it something called as brain writing. What is brain writing and how it is different from brainstorming? In brainstorming, what happens in your team, 7, 8 people, one person would be someone who is really outspoken. He or she will start with some story or some event, and everyone would hook upon to that event, and they will forget most of the things. And hence, I generally do not like brainstorming. And hence, I call people, hey guys, next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna give you post-its. You write everything that it reminds you. Just write it down. Every event on each of the post-its. Good, bad, ugly. So brain writing, what it does, it gives you some silence, and you can remind what has happened, and you can just write down unbiased. So that's one tool I use for collecting the data. But I don't use it every time. Next time I would use a chit chat. A chit chat in the sense everyone has to chit chat something else. What has happened, some event they can actually chit chat about. And then I, as a facilitator, take certain notes for some time. So around 5 to 10 minutes chit chat. That's a tool that I use. Sometimes diversion. Hey Pradeep, you tell one incident that has happened, or what is a learning point, or something like that, and then the other person has to come out with a diverging technique or a different event that would be absolutely anti that, or maybe away from that. So that's a different tool that I use. So what I'm doing is I'm asking people to collect the data, put it into brain, might be sometimes jotting it down, but putting it at least into brain and bringing them on the table. Okay, that's the second thing I do in collection of the data. Then how to organize the data. I organize the data and collect the data. So there are multiple tools. You must have gone to Google and searched it. So there's start, stop, continue. What went well, what did not go well, what needs improvement. There is a speedboat technique. I like it a lot. There is a timeline graph, and there are hundreds of technique. You know, so what do you do in it? You collect the data in an organized manner. What is an organized manner? I'm going to take you to the next slide here. And
May I interrupt?
sure,
So going back to the first stage, setting the stage.
yeah.
I was thinking, I think to add one more point is the addition of the context. I mean, we are doing the retrospective on what basis? It's not
Hmm.
only that complaining for the customer feedback.
Hmm.
It could be introspection for the team.
Yes.
Setting the context could be one part of it. I
Hmm.
do not know in which it would cover.
Hmm.
So that's I thought to share with all of you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing in that topic. So I agree with you. Majority of the times, what we do is we keep it really, really democratic. I would do out of 10 times, at least 8 times, I would do really, really democratic so that I don't become the owner as a facilitator for the retrospective. I make people, you are the owner of this event. I'm just a facilitator. Okay. However, am I one of the contributor? I can be one of the contributor. So out of 100%, maybe 20% of the times, I might choose a theme. What is a theme? Maybe in the last iteration, something happened, or some inputs that has come from management or the customer side of it, and I might nudge people that we need to work on these kind of things. So that is a theme for me for this particular sprint. For an example, design, how the design is actually working. So what I'm doing is, out of the whole plethora of the topics, I'm just focusing on design this time. So when would I do that? Majority of the topics are done. This time I just want to focus on one topic which is really, really important, and that time I might be choosing a theme. uh, am I talking on your own topic or the subject that you give, or you mean something different? Can you just hello team, right? Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah,
Vijay,
sure.
but not sure who asked the question.
Sure, okay. Yeah, good. Dipti is also raising hand. Dipti, do you have a question?
Yes, Vijay, I have a question here for the first
Setting
uh,
the stage.
setting the stage itself.
Sure.
So I understood like when we were in the office, like having retrospective calls on stairs or in the canteen or somewhere on the informal place would we would have done that was that's really a good idea. But what all are the different ideas you could suggest when we are today, past 1 year we are working, from home or in a
Hmm.
virtual environment?
Yeah. So, virtual environment, how do we kind of bring in the connectedness, the
Yeah,
people?
or this kind of diversity of conducting the calls, the conducting the retrospective meetings.
Yeah, so we brought in some kind of gamifications into this. Some of the retrospectives that I remember that we did is, team decided, or some people said that this guy really, really helped us a lot in this particular iteration. So we would like to award him some kind of, and then we made sure that someone was actually standing outside his home if he or she is in the city or something like that. And then some award was waiting at the doorstep. The moment we call, we patch the other person and opens the door, and hey, wow, we could actually see. That is one thing that we did. Sometimes we distributed some of the vouchers online. You just send a link and open that voucher, and sometimes, try your luck next time or something like. So there are certain games that we did for this kind of, gamification. Sometimes some people also come out with very, very new different ideas that how would we do this kind of innovative retrospective. So there are certain tools, like if you say retro.com, there are multiple websites that will also provide certain stage making, how you can actually build your stage. So there are certain tools like retro.com, so you can actually make it that way. You can actually have certain scratch coupons or something like that, that can also come in. So there are certain websites that people are using it for this one, so they can actually reward, award, and create some kind of gamifications.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Yeah, thanks,
Sure.
Deepak.
Yeah, yeah. Welcome. Okay. And then we were discussing, oh, yeah, thanks for bringing in that topic also. Then we were discussing about the collection of the data. So before collection of the data, I was telling you that how um, do we bring in all the people together so that they can remind of, so maybe taking them through timeline. Next is starting or initiation of the inputs. I was telling you 3 or 4 different tools on brain writing, chit chat, diversion. There are multiple tools like that. And then actually collecting that data, whatever is actually coming in a design format. What is a design format? Start, stop, continue. What went well, what did not go well, speedboat technique, timeline graph. So there are different ways of doing it. I'm going to show you on the screen here is a speedboat technique. What do we do here is, see, on you just draw it here on the screen, whatever board you have actually made. On the board, on the left side down, there is an anchor. This is a boat. There's a wind coming in, and then there is sunlight that's really helping you. And then on the right side, somewhere I write the sprint goal. Also, reef, certain future risks ahead that you can actually see. So what I've done is, I've done a visualization. I'm putting in certain visualization here. Now, what I do, um, I think you were Gayatri. You were asking some question. Dipti, right? You're asking some question. How do I bring in this gamification here? So I will tell you one gamification here. So what do I do is, if I draw this speedboat technique, what I do is gamification technique. In this, I draw some people here. If in my team there are 5 people, what kind of gamification I would do is, hey guys, on this board, you just have to write your name there on each individual. You are one person. Choose your caricature, write your name. And then as a facilitator, what I say, hey guys, you're Dipte, you're Hemakumar, you're Azmat, you're Vole, we all are one team. So what I'm doing is creating a sense of team here. I have given you already the thing that has happened on the timeline. I'm now creating some kind of gamification. I'm asking people to contribute on this with their name. Now I have built in a team feeling. Then I ask people, what is the wind? What wind was actually helping your boat? So certain positive things. You have already reminded them with those 2, 3 tools earlier. They will put here on the green stickies at the place wherein wind is written there. Now on the uh, right side top, there is sun. What made us feel good? And then below there is anchor. So ask them, write your stickies, maybe blue stickies, and what you felt held us back, an anchor. And then in the white stickies, what is the future risk ahead? Something like that. you know. So what I'm doing here is I am building a structured database of the data points. Okay, now do I have only one technique? No, there are multiple techniques. You can have a mountain climber retrospective wherein ropes, boulders, weather, first aid. Okay, you can use it like that. What helped us reach the goal? What stood in our way? What did we feel about our work? What help do we need? Kind of, you know. So what I'm doing here is I have certain tools. What is my idea? Data gathering in a designed way. How do I do that? There are multiple techniques. Okay, I just change it. I can be really, really innovative in bringing this kind of, uh, you know, ways of doing certain retrospectives. Okay, so this is my start stop technique. Okay, so let me go back. Piyush, I think you have a question. Collecting the data in organized manner. So I told you certain tools. What all tools you can use? Start, stop, Speedboat, timeline graph, and so many things. Now, once you get your data in the organized manner, what is the organized manner? You would like to get certain category of data. Category of data in the sense what were really really helpful, what was good, what was not so good, or what can be improved. These are the 2 3 different inputs that you would like to get from team. How can you put it, or how can you actually manufacture it in a way that it looks really novel? I told you, you know, while you are playing basketball, so where was the basketball when you did a jump, when the turf was broken somewhere, ball wasn't good, or when there was air coming from out, and that helped you put the ball. So can I put that game into this 4 baskets? Yes. What helped you, what didn't help you, or what can be improved? Yeah. Can I put it in while I go for cycling, you know, with my friends? So I can tell my team that we are going for cycling with my team, or with all of you. Now, imagine what can be not so good, what can be so good about it, and what can be improved, or what the risk that you can see. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing some kind of gamification. I'm creating some kind of story and then connecting the project to this story. And that's how you're taking people away from the normal environment of work into new weather environment, and then people feel like really interesting and connecting. And that's how people would give you more and more inputs. You know, you're doing some visualization. So there are multiple techniques. Now once the data is collected, what you can do is you can actually prioritize it. How do you prioritize or generate insights? So I'll go to next page again. If you get so many inputs here, now I can ask my people or team members, hey guys, out of this, whatever you feel interesting, you have just 3 votes. So I'll ask Olu, everyone in this team, like you, have 3 votes. Where to put those 3 votes? 1 vote each on any of the inputs that people have given. Just put anywhere you feel. And now you are calling all the people, you know, it's like team gathering. It's a chaos. So create a chaos. Until now you are trying to create an order. Now create a little chaos in order to get some order. This is called as chaos to get the order. What chaos you are asking? You are asking all the people. They may not be sure which one to choose, but you are leaving them free. You are free to choose. Now they will be free to choose. They will choose at least 3 items. Now at the end, guys, are you done? Now create an order. How would you create order? Out of that, which idea or which input got the most inputs or most votes? That is the idea you would focus on. Okay, so top 3, top 4 you can choose, and then you will discuss that. So what you're doing is, at the first place, you have invited all the people. They really felt good. You opened their mind. then you give everybody a fair chance to put their ideas, so everybody's contributing. Now what you are telling people, you have to choose the most valuable or most valuable inputs or that you feel input. So what you're taking as a facilitator, you are not choosing yourself, but you're telling the people, choose that you would like to implement in the next one. So what you're doing, you are actually giving the ownership or democracy to people, and people are choosing it. So no one is hurt here. People can literally choose their own idea. They're free to do it. Okay, so now this is what you're doing, create having a chaos to create an order in an innovative way. Yeah. Can you do it everywhere? Yes, there are multiple ways you can actually do it. So what we did here, dot voting is one technique I'm telling you. Another technique is bet your best. Bet your best in the sense, which one or maybe the best one that would give you the best outcome, you feel. So out of top three, then value the outcome. Value the outcome. I give people, maybe sometimes you have a $5 bill, you have a $10 bill, you have a $1 bill and a $100 bill. Okay, now which one, where would you like to put? So you would like to put one idea, $100 bill, $5 bill somewhere, $1 bill somewhere, kind of. If you implement this or you do something about it, that would be the best outcome or value for the team. And that is the way you can actually do it. So generate the insights. I have got multiple tools. I just put three tools here, but you can use your own ways of doing it. So I can, sometimes I put dot voting, sometimes I put bet your best, sometimes I put value your outcome, and multiple techniques. So just one I choose. So I keep changing. Now once this is done, uh, top three, then we discuss what all are the actions that we can take. So discuss about what are the actions. So there are multiple tools there. Why this is happening, like 5 eye techniques. I didn't go in here because those are really, really known tools. 5 eyes techniques, or there are multiple tools like, um, effort value technique and something like that. So those tools you can actually search on Google and you will actually get it. Now, out of that, whatever is the action plan that you are thinking would make sense. So you might get the 3, 4, 5 things. Again, you can use this dot voting here. If you have multiple plans, if you do not have, generally you may not have. So in that case, if you are making a plan, I generally have a smart plan. What is smart plan? Is the actions should be very specific. It should not be like, we would like to improve our code. What does that mean? That doesn't really mean anything. It has to be very specific. What is that you mean by improving code? Do you mean you will have certain style guide? Do you mean you will have certain design rules that will set that has to be implemented or something like that? What is very specific? Then measurable. Measurable in the sense, if you implement this, you can actually measure the change. Okay. Then a actionable, you can actually take some action on it, or someone is responsible for it. Someone should be responsible. Who will be taking responsibility of this? And then T is time boxed. Next iteration or next sprint is the time box. It has to get finished. Okay, so this is the plan I would make. So in this R is very much important here. Hey team, who would like to take this now? So the action number one, who would like to take? Action number two, who would like to take? And someone should own it. Own doesn't mean that he or she will do it all the way. No, he or she is responsible to make sure that it gets to closure by the end of that particular specific date. So I'll also put R and also put T in that. That's the fourth stage. And that is where, I generally depart from my retrospective. You know, very funnily, very interestingly, I made sure people were involved. People got their stuff that they need to work upon. Okay, people should be responsible. If you take responsibility on your own, then you will end up doing work all the way. So that's how I make my retrospective interesting. Now, what I do is here, every time I keep changing something, like set the stage. This time I'm using board, next time I will use certain tool. Not retro.io, then maybe next time some other tool. There are multiple tools. There is something called as concept board. There are various tools, and then there is something called as relaxed environment. What kind of environment? This time I'm going to go to hotel. This time I'm going to go to some restaurant, or open staircase or something like that, or pool table. Near pool table we'll actually discuss and something like that. Set the time and location. I might change a little, food or no food, because I believe in philosophy that people open up over food. You call them at your place, give them some food, and they will open up, they'll share certain stories. Contribute and win. There are certain techniques that actually reward people about their involvement. Yeah. And also someone was telling about a focused retrospective. If you want a focused retrospective, so this time the theme is just the coding practices. This time the just the customer defects. This time the focus is just around the documentation, maybe something like that. Okay, so you can also set the stage like that. And then we discussed, while collecting the data, what is required. Firstly, in order to collect the right data, sampling, you need to remind people what has happened in the last iteration. Then you need to create right environment for collecting the data. Brain writing, because it will help people to put ideas unbiased way. Chit chat, it's an interesting technique. Diversion, it's an interesting technique. I can actually use that. And then putting my data in a designed, interesting manner. I told you certain tools, like 4 or 5 tools I have here. But if you go and find out retrospective techniques, then you will get multiple data collection ways of doing it. Then once this data collection is done, out of that, generating the right insights, which one are really, really helpful. Then I use certain tools like dot voting, bet your best, value the outcome. This I can change every time. And then after generating the insights, which are the really, really helpful ones, then I create my action plan, which is smart. This also you can create a little bit of gamification. Sometimes, I throw a dice, or ask, take out the names, so this person will own the this action or something like that. I put chits on one box with the names of the people on it, sometimes the blank this thing, and then people just open up, and then this is how they get the actions, so they're responsible for. And once they close their actions, once they come back to the next one, again you contribute and win, so they have a gamification here. Okay, so this is how I do my retrospective, and multiple ways of changing. So these 4 things, you have multiple things, find it out. You can create your own Excel sheet and then just create your own new retrospective. So as I told you, you can think of, while I went to Himalayas, can you create a retrospective out of it? Yes, definitely. So how would you set the stage for creating a Himalaya like structure? That would be creating a stage, so that you give feeling for people, this is all I see, all height. So while collecting the data, maybe you can use certain things like that, the peak of the Himalayas, the Everest, that's the goal. You can write the goal there. And then it's icing, and then some landsliding is happening somewhere. There is sunlight coming in. So you can actually make something like that for collecting data, and then generating insights. You can still connect with your story, and then plan and close. So this is how you can gamify and create your own